They called her a temptress, a queen who ruled with beauty instead of brains. But what if everything you've heard about Cleopatra is a lie? Behind the legends of seduction and scandal was something far more dangerous. A woman who mastered strategy, diplomacy, and influence so deeply that even Rome's greatest men bowed to her intellect. She didn't just rule Egypt, she rewrote the rules of power itself. Today, her secrets can teach you how to lead, how to influence, and how to turn your setbacks into strategy, just as she did. Because Cleopatra wasn't born powerful. She built power, and in a world that rewards confidence, communication, and control, her lessons are more valuable than ever. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand how one woman turned intelligence into empire, and how you can use her timeless strategies to lead your own life like a queen. This is Cleopatra's leadership secrets you can use today. Cleopatra wasn't just a symbol of beauty or seduction. She was a master strategist, a communicator, a negotiator, and a visionary who understood that power begins not with armies, but with intellect. This is her story, and the lessons it hides are as sharp and relevant today as they were 2,000 years ago. Cleopatra VII was born in 69 BCE into the Ptolemaic dynasty, descendants of Alexander the Great's general. Her Egypt was a world of splendor and chaos. The Library of Alexandria, the temples of Isis, the marketplaces alive with trade, and behind it all, the cutthroat politics of royalty. Her family had ruled for generations, but power was never guaranteed. Betrayal and murder were as common as crowns. From her youth, Cleopatra understood that leadership began with mastery of herself. While others indulged in wealth, she pursued wisdom. Fluent in many languages, she became the first of her dynasty to speak Egyptian, a powerful gesture that connected her with her people. She learned early that to lead others, you must first speak their language. Communication wasn't just her tool, it was her weapon. At 18, Cleopatra rose to the throne alongside her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. But court advisors quickly moved to strip her of real authority. Betrayed and exiled from her own kingdom, she faced ruin. Yet Cleopatra didn't crumble. She redefined defeat as preparation. She built alliances, gathered intelligence, and waited for her moment to return. When you lose power, don't panic. Pivot. That was her first great secret. Her chance came when Rome itself descended into civil war. Julius Caesar, the most powerful man alive, arrived in Egypt, chasing his rival Pompey. Cleopatra saw not a conqueror, but an opportunity. Denied entry to the palace, she arranged one of the boldest entrances in history. She had herself smuggled inside, wrapped in a rug, and unrolled before Caesar himself. It was dramatic, brilliant, unforgettable. And in that single act, Cleopatra changed the course of empires. Great leaders understand the power of symbolism. Cleopatra didn't beg for an audience, she commanded attention. Caesar was captivated not by her beauty, but by her confidence, intelligence, and ability to discuss politics as his equal. In her, he saw not just a queen, but a strategist. With Caesar's backing, Cleopatra reclaimed her throne. But she didn't serve Rome, she served Egypt. She blended Greek administration with Egyptian religion, presenting herself as the living goddess Isis. It was both politics and performance, a unifying story that gave her people purpose. Cleopatra knew that leadership isn't about authority, it's about narrative. Under her rule, Egypt flourished. She stabilized its economy, opened trade routes, reformed the currency, and expanded agriculture. She was not a figurehead, she was a reformer, blending diplomacy with ruthless precision. She ruled not by fear, but by intelligence and vision. Then came tragedy. When Caesar was assassinated, Cleopatra's world shifted again. Many would have been destroyed by the loss of such an ally. She adapted. Enter Mark Antony, one of Rome's most powerful generals. Their meeting was legend. Cleopatra sailed to him on a golden barge, dressed as the goddess of love, surrounded by music and perfume. Antony was mesmerized, but beneath the spectacle was strategy. Their partnership was political, personal, and powerful. Together, they aimed to create an Eastern empire that could rival Rome itself. Cleopatra offered resources, ships, and wealth. Antony offered protection and military might. Yet in truth, she was never anyone's pawn. She used emotion, intellect, and presence to shape the outcome she wanted. Emotion is not weakness, it's influence. Cleopatra understood that power moves through hearts before it reaches minds. In a world that worships logic, she reminds us, people follow passion, not just plans. As their alliance deepened, so did their enemies. Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir, waged a war not just of armies, but of stories. He painted Cleopatra as a foreign temptress who had corrupted Rome's hero. His propaganda turned the Senate and the people against her. The battlefield wasn't land, it was perception. Control your narrative, or someone else will. Cleopatra's brilliance could command armies, but even she couldn't outfight a story that spread faster than her ships could sail. It's a timeless truth. Leadership lives or dies by perception. In 31 BCE, the final confrontation came, the Battle of Actium. Outnumbered, Antony and Cleopatra faced Octavian's superior forces. When the tide turned, Cleopatra made a desperate strategic retreat to preserve her fleet. Antony followed, and the battle was lost. Back in Egypt, she faced the inevitable. Octavian invaded. Antony, defeated and shamed, took his own life. Cleopatra, now alone, negotiated desperately to protect her children and her legacy. When it became clear she would be paraded through Rome as a captive, she chose her own fate. Legend says she took her life with the bite of an asp, dying as she had lived, on her own terms. With her death, Egypt's independence ended. But Cleopatra's legend began. Her enemies tried to define her as a seductress, but history remembers something else: a ruler of intellect, will, and extraordinary presence. What made her unforgettable wasn't just power, it was her mastery of the human game. She understood people, their desires, fears, pride, and dreams. She led not through domination, but persuasion. And her lessons still guide us today. Communicate to connect. Cleopatra's fluency united kingdoms. In modern leadership, emotional and cultural intelligence are your most valuable currencies. Turn failure into fuel. When exiled, she rebuilt. When betrayed, she adapted. Resilience is not born from comfort, but from confrontation. Craft your presence. Cleopatra radiated authority through how she spoke, moved, and carried silence. Presence is energy that tells the world you belong before you say a word. Adapt quickly. She shifted alliances, strategies, and symbols to match a changing world. Leaders who adapt lead longer, rule the narrative. Octavian's propaganda won not by might, but by story. Control your image, or others will weaponize it against you. Lead with emotion and intellect. Cleopatra's strength came from balancing strategy with empathy, logic with charm. True influence lives where reason meets feeling. Own your story. Cleopatra's life ended, but her legend never did, because she wrote her own ending. Today's leaders, whether in business, politics, or creativity, face a world as ruthless as Rome. The battlefield is digital, not naval. The wars are of ideas, not armies. But the principles are eternal. Influence still belongs to those who understand timing, communication, and courage. Imagine Cleopatra in our world today. She wouldn't need a throne. She'd command boardrooms, redefine brands, move markets with a single post, and still walk the line between intellect and emotion. Her strategy remains timeless. Lead with vision, influence through connection, and never surrender your narrative. In the silence of history's ruins, her name still whispers through time. Empires fell, but her story endures. Because true leadership, like hers, isn't measured in titles or monuments, it's measured in legacy. When the world doubts you, when failure threatens to define you, when power feels out of reach, think of Cleopatra, the queen who turned exile into empire, seduction into strategy, and death into immortality. Her final lesson still burns bright through centuries. Lead with mind, influence with heart, and always, always write your own legend. If her story inspired you, don't just admire it, apply it. Because history doesn't belong to those who watch, it belongs to those who act. This is Cleopatra's leadership secrets you can use today.